चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालयै कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुवरं श्रीगुरुपादं रसरसं श्रीगुरुचरणं वन्दे रमणनिष्ठाय भूतले श्री कृष्ण लीलार्तने सुदक्षमाधुरी माधुरी तम ब्रह्मण्यं पुरुषं नारायणं तम श्री साधनं जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्तवृंद जय रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम First of all, I offer my Sashtanga Dhanavad pranams to those people, our spiritual masters, Nitlai Shrivan Bhaktivedanta Shri Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudev, Nitlai Shrivan Bhaktivedanta Shri Vaman Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudev, entire Rupankari Guru Varga, and all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis present there. So continuing. Shri Ramananda samvad. So for a sincere disciple of Srila Gurudev, who hopes to invite these moods of his love and affection, then this is Vani Seva. Shri Guru is served in two ways, Vapu Seva and Vani Seva. So what is Vapu Seva? Vapu Seva means to serve his body, and Vani Seva means to serve his words. So Vapu Seva means to cook for him, to wash his clothes, to massage him, and to be there by his side at all times. This is called Vapu Seva. So this question was asked to Gurudev saying, which is more important, Vapu Seva or Vani Seva? Service to the body or service to the words of Sri Guru? And what did Gurudev say? Which is more important? Words when he is unmanifest, but when he is manifest, both equal. Vapu Seva and Vani Seva equal. When Sri Guru is present in this world, even Vapu Seva should not be neglected. Because sometimes devotees think that if I stay near Sri Guru, then I might commit some offences at his lotus feet. So I should not stay so near him, I will go stay far. And I will serve his words. So this is not good. It is also very essential to be in his physical presence. Like the example is given. And after the Gaur Arati, Gurudev would have all the brahmacharis come and sit next to him. And then he would ask all the brahmacharis different questions. And then they would answer. And he would discuss with them. They would have an Ishtagoshti. Ishtagoshti means like a very intimate discussion. Where they're asking each other questions and answers. And Gurudev is answering. But then some brahmacharis, they would not come to see him. They would be hiding in their rooms. Saying, oh, if we go there, then we might commit some offenses. Because there is that saying, familiarity breeds contempt. One gets too familiar, then he may take certain things for granted. So we should not go near him. But Sri Gurudev, he says this mentality is not good. As long as a bona fide sadhu is present, you must be there in his physical presence. You must inquire from him, ask from him. Because in the Gita itself, what has Krishna said? Yasat tat vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanas jnaninas tattadarshina. Yasat inquire from the tattadarshi sadhu. Serve him, inquire from him. So if you are not in his physical presence, then how can you possibly serve him? How can you possibly inquire from him? So also Vapu Seva is very important to me. But also Vani Seva is also very important. Because sometimes those who are in the direct physical presence of Sri Guru, they feel that there is no need to follow his words. I'm there directly in his physical association. What need is there for me to listen to his katha or to follow his instructions when I'm there directly? Of course, he's very fortunate to be there in his direct presence. It cannot be denied. But still, you have to follow his words also. Like sometimes some devotees may think that I'm always with the Vaishnavas in the kitchen or in his room, or I'm always with him, so no need to come for his Harikatha, no need to... they take things for granted. So this is also not good. It must be balanced. Vapu and Vani together. How will a train run when there are two parallel rail tracks? When there are two parallel rail lines, then the train will run. But if one line is proper but the other line is broken, then how will the train run? No. So Vapu and Vani are together. Also sometimes one is not careful in this Vapu Seva, and he may also take the sadhu for granted. He will say sadhu is eating, the sadhu is sleeping, sadhu is also going to the bathroom. Sadhu, sometimes he forgets. Sadhu, sometimes he cannot answer certain questions regarding management. So sadhu, how is he a sadhu? Because sadhu is the embodiment of all the demigods. But here I am saying that he is not able to answer certain questions regarding management. So here doubt arises. Samsayatma vinashrati. Doubt is very dangerous. Like we see, even eternal associates of Bhagavan themselves have this doubt. Like you see Garuda. Now, who was Garuda? Garuda was the associate of Sri Narayan in Vaikuntha. So one day what happened? The son of Ravan, Meghanath, he shot his Nagastra. So this Nagastra means he releases one arrow which comes out like a snake. And then it catches that person. It binds him in its embrace. So then what did this Meghanath do? He shot his arrows. He released these Nagastras, these snakes, and they caught hold of Ram and Lakshman. And they bound him in their embrace. So then Ram and Lakshman, they were unconscious on the ground. Then all the Vanaras, all the warriors, they were very scared, thinking now who would protect Ram and Lakshman? So then Narad Rishi, he came there, and then he said, you pray to Garuda. And Garuda, he'll make these snakes go away. So then they prayed to Garuda, Garuda, he came there. And as soon as these snakes saw Garuda, they went away from there. Not just by seeing him, just by smelling the fragrance of his body, they got so scared and they ran away. So then Garuda, he had this doubt in his mind. How is this possible? They are my Prabhu. These snakes, seeing me, they ran away. But here you see these very snakes, they have bound my Prabhu. So he had this doubt in his heart, Garuda. So then he went to Lord Shiva. So he had this doubt. He went to Brahma first. Oh Brahmaji, your Jagat Guru, kindly dispel this doubt from my heart. And Brahma said, I don't know, you go to Shivji, Shankar. And he went to Lord Shiva, Shiv Thakur, saying, can you please remove this doubt from my heart? And Shiv Thakur said, you don't come near me. Because if you come near me, then the doubt that you have in your heart will also enter my heart. Don't come near me, he said. Sangadosh. Like we see, even Sati, she had the same doubt. She saw Ram was weeping in the forest in separation from Sita. Sita, where are you? And Sati was thinking, how is this possible? If he is Parabrahma, how can he be weeping for his wife? And then she assumed the form of Sita, and then she tried standing in front of Ram. Every time she would come in front of Ram would turn his face away. And then what did she see? By Ram's mercy, she saw the image of Sita and Ram within every particle, within every tree, within every creeper, within every leaf, every branch. She saw this image and she realized Ram Ram is Bhagavan himself. So then Shankarji, he told Garuda, alright, you're very proud. You think you're the king of birds? Then go to Kakbhushandi. So Kakbhushandi is a crow. So crow is very inferior to an eagle. But still Garuda, he went and he requested Kakbhushandi, kindly dispel my doubt. And then Kakbhushandi spoke the entire Ramayana, and he spoke on Tattva for Sri Ramachandra. And in this way, Garuda's doubts were dispelled. Janma karma chame divyam evam yogedi tattvata. Takta deham punarjarma nayatima savarjuna. Krishna is saying, if anyone knows that my janma is divya, janma karma, my activities are divya, then takta deha punarjarma nayatima savarjuna. Then once he leaves his body, he'll never be born. So that same place where Kakbhushandi spoke the Ramayana to Garuda is still present now. In the Himalayas. It's near Badrinath. There's a kunda there, very beautiful place called Kakbhushandi Kund. If you see that, if you can see the video, then you'll see that water is so pure. The trees there, everything is so pure in that place, Kakbhushandi Kund. So as he had doubt. So therefore, when one is in the physical association of sadhu, guru, he may have many doubts. No, like even when Gurudev was sick, some devotees were saying that how is this? Sometimes I hear Gurudev, he's saying something in pain. Like once, one devotee went to Gurudev and said, oh Gurudev, you are an Uttam Mahabhagavat. I know you are not feeling any pain, but still you are showing some Naravat Leela, human-like pastimes. Gurudev said, you are saying, but I am feeling pain, he's saying. You are speaking with this, but I am feeling pain. Then he said, no. Then that devotee went and he told others that Gurudev himself is saying that he is feeling pain. How can we reconcile? So many things can happen like this. Many doubts can come. Therefore, sometimes sadhus, they distance themselves from certain people. Because then, if they are giving their association, then their doubts will only increase more and more. And you have prapanchik buddhi. Prapanchik buddhi means what? Means to consider sadhu to be like an ordinary human being, like myself. Like once one sevak of Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta, he saw Prabhupada wearing a watch. And then this sevak, he told Bhaktivedanta, Prabhupada, how can you do this? How can you wear this wristwatch? How is this Yukta Vairagya? He said. And as soon as he spoke this, then Prabhupada realized, now he's becoming very proud. And after some time, that sevak, he was a very intimate sevak. He even left the temple, then he entered household life, so many things happened. But because he was such an intimate sevak, eventually he even took sannyas again. He left home and he took sannyas after many years. So one must be very careful. Because the path of bhakti is like a razor's edge. If you are not careful, this edge can cut you at any time and you can start bleeding. So therefore there is always this danger. So Vapu, Vani, they're equal. But according to their specialities, they have their own advantages. Especially when Guru is unmanifest, his words are very important to follow. What are his words? His classes, his books, everything. Especially the katha spoken by his disciples also. Bona fide disciples, his sevaks. That is also in one way Vani Seva. Because whatever they are speaking, they have heard from him. So this way when we are discussing all these things, then we should discuss with this mood that we are engaging in Vani Seva of Sri Guru. Not that we are just wasting our time, we are doing time pass. We are doing Vani Seva. We are trying to imbibe these instructions that Sri Guru has given to us in our lives. And not just imbibing, but also practicing in our own lives. No, if you are only listening and not practicing, then it is like a luxury. It is like theoretical understanding is no understanding. Like once Shamarani Mataji, she went to Gurudev. And then she said, oh, I have some theoretical understanding of all these things. And he said, theoretical understanding is no understanding. She thought something is better than nothing. He said, no, this is no understanding. You must realize in your life, practically. So today I was listening to one morning walk, audio file. There one devotee was saying about this jiva falling from Golok Vrindavan. Because there's so much confusion right now. That the jivas, what is their origin? So according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the origin of the jiva is where? Is in Tathastha region. In the middle, between the material and the spiritual world. But then if you see, there are certain examples given in the scriptures which may actually support the theory that the Jiva fell from Golokunda. What are those examples? Can you say any one example? Jaya Vijay. See, that's the easiest one. Jaya Vijay, they fell from Vaikuntha. Also, they say that in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, when Krishna met Gopakumar, then Krishna embraced him. And he said, "Where were you all these years? Why did you leave me? I was looking so much. I was looking forward to your association so much. Where were you?" So here they say the same thing. That Gopakumar was also in the spiritual world, but then he fell down. And he was born as a cowboy boy in Govardhan. And he started doing sadhana gradually, and then he went back. They give this example also. But this is actually, if you see, Krishna through Gopakumar, he's teaching all the conditioned souls that your original home is in Golokunda. You don't belong here. So this example is not perfect to support this theory. Like we see in Radharani also, she sees Krishna and then she even forgets. And then the next moment she thinks, well, who is this person? I've never seen this person my entire life. So does that mean that Krishna left Golok Vrindavan and then again he came back? No. The nature of prem in Golok Vrindavan is Navanavayaman. Means this prem is relished in newer and newer ways, in newer and newer varieties. This prem. It is never stale, it never becomes old. So Gurudev was trying, we must try to reconcile. Because in the Shastras there is one example that Jalandhar and Tulsi. So Jalandhar, he was a manifestation of Vishnu. And then what happened? He assumed the form of Tulsi's husband, Shankachur. And then, having assumed the form of her husband, he used to stay with her. But then later she realized that he's not actually my husband, he's someone else. So then she cursed Jalandhar, that you become a stone. Because you're so stone-hearted, you assume the form of my husband, you become a stone. So who was he born as? He was born as the Saligram Shila in this world. The Saligram Shila is actually Jalandhar. And then Jalandhar, he cursed her that you become a plant. And she became this Tulsi plant in this world. So again, this example was given that you see even in the spiritual world, they're cursing each other like this and they're falling down. There is even an example of Radharani cursing Sridham cursing Radharani. So how to reconcile? So then Gurudev said, certain Puranas, they are written according to the different modes of material nature. Some Puranas are written in the mode of goodness. Some Puranas, some books are written in the mode of passion. And some are written in the mode of ignorance. So these stories of associates of Bhagavan cursing each other is actually from the Puranas in the mode of passion, Rajoguna. And what is the Bhagavad Puran? Bhagavad Puran is Paramahamsa Samhita, it is Amar Puran. There is no trace of any of these three modes of material nature in the Bhagavatam. Therefore, the sole authority for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas is the Srimad Bhagavatam. Their faith is totally dependent on this one book, not on any other book. So you must try to understand what Gurudev is telling the devotees. Then they asked one question. They said that in Satyayuga, if you see, in Satyayuga, if you think about anything bad, you immediately get a reaction. They are saying in Satyayuga. So then in Kali Yuga, what is the result? Because in Kali Yuga especially, our minds are so disturbed. We are thinking about so many bad things. No. So does it mean that we'll get a reaction immediately? So then Gurudev said no. In Kali Yuga, if you think about something bad, you don't get a reaction. But in Satyayuga, you do get a reaction. But on the other hand, if you think about something good in Kali Yuga, then you get a good reaction. But if you think about something bad, then you don't get a reaction. But this does not mean that you keep thinking about something bad. No, you think about something good. But then here, Gurudev said there's a slight sense of discretion here. He said, if you think about something offensive in your mind, like committing acts of violence towards devotees, criticizing devotees within your mind, that is bad. He said for that you'll get a reaction. So if you think about something sinful, you won't get reaction. Because there's a difference between sin and offense. Now, what does sin do? Sin only affects your gross body and subtle body, your mind and this body. But offense directly affects your very soul. Offense is so dangerous, it affects your soul. So if you think offensively within your mind about something, anything for that instance, why is this person like that? Why is that person? Who is he? Who is she? Criticizing, finding faults, and you get reaction for that. What is the reaction? You start losing taste in Harinam. You start losing taste in Hari Seva. You start losing taste in Hari Kirtan. You start losing taste in so many things. So it's very, very careful. Like you see, one offense to the Vaishnava is you see any Vaishnava coming, and then within your mind you're thinking, oh, why did he come here? Why did he come here? Like, externally you're not saying anything, but within your mind you're thinking, oh, why did he come here? Oh, why did I come? Why is he in this way? You think like this is also offensive. So Gurudev said, you must understand. So then, these devotees, they raised another question. They told Gurudev that Srila Gauragovinda Maharaj, he said that anyone who takes initiation is actually in Satyuga. He is no longer in Kali Yuga. If one takes initiation. So if one takes Diksha and if he is in Satyuga, then whatever he is thinking, he must also get a result. If he is thinking about something bad. So then we are all finished in that sense because all of us are initiated. Most of us. And if most of us are initiated and we are in Satyuga, then we are thinking about so many bad things, then immediately we are finished. So then Gurudev, he said, here you must understand what is real initiation and what is initiation which is gradually going up to that point, which is perfect initiation. What is that called? Anushtaniki and Vidvadrudi. So Vidvadrudi is real initiation. That is initiation in the truest sense of the term. And Anushtaniki is formal initiation. Means what? Means Guru, he recites these mantras into your ears. And then he makes you sit in front of the fire sacrifice. You offer so many oblations. This swaha, that swaha. And then you go around, you ask for piksha. People are giving you some pranami, this, that. This is the formal side of initiation. So he said when Gauragovinda Maharaj was speaking about people having once received initiation, being situated in Satyuga, he actually meant Vidvadrudi Diksha. Vidvadrudi means realized initiation. Now all of us, most of us, we haven't realized this Vidvadrudi initiation. No, why? Because we have been given admission into the school of initiation. Not that we're directly perfect after having received initiation. Because you see in Jayavadharma, Brajnath and Vijay Kumar, once Raghunath Babaji initiated them, immediately they had darshan of Mahaprabhu and all his associates. Immediately they had darshan of Radha, Krishna and all the associates of Mahaprabhu. But this is not our case. So then should we become hopeless? Oh, I'm not having darshan of Mahaprabhu, I'm not having darshan of Radha and Krishna. I still have so many anarthas. What are the different kinds of anarthas? Avidya, ignorance. Asmita, false egoism, and I am this body, mind. Abhinivesh, what is Abhinivesh? Absorption in this material world. To be infatuated with this material world. And then there's Rag. Rag means what? Means vehemence, means this mood of enmity towards others. And there's Dvesh, hatred, all these things. No, so we have so many kinds of anarthas and we should be hopeless then. Gurudev is saying, no, don't be hopeless. Now I have given you admission into the school of Diksha. Now you be admitted, now you follow all the process from beginning and then gradually you will start realizing yourself how you are being purified. And then you will realize your Swarup, who you are. And which rasa you serve Radha and Krishna. Then you will realize you will have Samvad Gyan. And once Samvad Gyan arises within you, then you will be able to chant Shuddhanam. Or else you will never be able to chant Shuddhanam. Without Diksha you can never chant Shuddhanam. Because some devotees, they were raising this question, that what need is there for first and second initiation? What need is there for Harinam, for Diksha, all these things? No, because in the Shastras it has been said that Harinam is perfect. Harinam is complete. Naam Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta Abhinna Tat Nama Namino. That it is Purna Shuddha, fully pure, Nitya Mukta, fully liberated. And what need is there to take initiation, to take Diksha? Just chant Harinam. And we say also that in the Shastras there are certain devotees who haven't accepted initiation. Like who? Among Mahaprabhu's associates, can you think of someone who hasn't received Diksha? Can you think? Some examples? Haridas Thakur. Now, who is the guru of Haridas Thakur? Who did he take initiation from? No one knows. Yeah? Any other? Ramananda. No one knows who gave initiation to Ramananda. Swarup Damodar. Who gave initiation to him? Swarup Damodar Goswami. Who is his guru? No one knows. So they gave this example. That Haridas Thakur, he is Namacharya. He just kept chanting Harinam. He never took initiation from anyone. So what need is there for us to take initiation? Gurudev said, what are you saying? These devotees are the eternal associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are like Uttam Mahabhagavats. They are the greatest of all the devotees. So this is like very extraordinary case. This does not apply to you, Gurudev said. No. On the other hand, you see so many of Mahaprabhu's associates themselves took initiation. Gadadhar Pandit, who is his guru? Pundarik Vidyanidhi. He took initiation. And then who is the guru of Raghunath Das Goswami? His Siksha guru is Rupa and Sanatan, but Diksha guru is Yadunandan Acharya. He took initiation. Gopal Bhatta Goswami took initiation from Prabodhananda Saraswati. In this way, so many of Mahaprabhu's associates. Mahaprabhu himself took initiation from Ishwar Puri. Krishna himself took initiation from Bhagori Rishi. He received his Radha mantra from Bhagori Rishi. Ramchandra took initiation from who? From Vasishta Rishi. So you see, Bhagavan himself is taking Diksha. So why should we be an exemption? So don't have this conception. So first you receive Harinam, Diksha, and then you gradually chant Shuddhanam in this way. They say Gurudev, he was clearing all their doubts in these conversations. Whatever doubts these devotees had, he was clearing them like one by one, all these different things. Like they were asking another question. They were saying that Radha and Krishna, when they're together, there is that mood. Naso Ramani, Naso Raman. Means Radharani is thinking I'm no longer the enjoyed, and Krishna is thinking I'm no longer the enjoyer. And sometimes the role even reverses. Radharani thinks I'm the enjoyer, and Krishna thinks I'm the enjoyer. Small boy, he wants to catch the moon. He sees the full moon in the sky, then he wants to catch it in his hand. So then he tells his mother, "Mother, I want to catch that moon. I want to catch it." Then his mother, what does she do? When it's evening, or it's that time, then when the moon is gradually rising, then she points to the branch of a tree, Shaka. Shaka means a branch of a tree. And then she says, "See, the moon is right there." And the boy, he pretends to catch hold of the moon. And then the mother says, "Yes, now you've caught the moon." So she points to the direction of the branch. So similarly here, Gurudev is giving this analogy that you cannot understand all these things even if I speak them to you. Why? Because this material world itself is very limited. The words I speak, they're always limited by time, past, present, future. Like you see the jivas, the conditioned jivas in this material world, they have been described as Anadi Bahirmukha. Anadi Bahirmukha means what? They were always conditioned and they will remain conditioned. But Gurudev says this is not the case. Anadi Bahirmukha means they have been conditioned even before time began. Time immemorial. Because when we speak of time, what do we think of past, present and future. It's always like that, past, present, future. No, like I just ate, or I'm eating, or I will eat, I slept, or I'm sleeping, I will sleep. Anything you think about, past, present, future. So then all these tattvas, when we think about them, we always think in terms of these three phases of time. Past, present and future. But in the spiritual world, there is no past, present, future. There is only the eternal present. There is only the eternal present. Like we see in the spiritual world, there is nothing like Krishna being born from the womb of Yashoda. There is nothing like that. In the material world we see Krishna is born from Yashoda in Gokul. But is there any Leela like that in the spiritual world? That Krishna is born from her womb? There is no such Leela. Rather, there is only this conception that yes, Krishna, he is the son of Yashoda, he is born from her womb. When did this take place? It just took place like as of now, for those in Vatsalyas. But they cannot say it took place in the past. Why? Because there is no past in the spiritual world, there is only the eternal present. And the mood of praying is such that they forget anything else except the eternal present. So all these things are inconceivable. So we cannot understand by a limited mind, by a limited intelligence. The only way we can understand is by chanting Harinam more and more, and by being in Sadhu Sangha more and more. Or else we cannot understand all these things. Similarly, in all this conversation also between Raya Ramananda and Mahaprabhu, because as we proceed, we'll see there are so many deep things, deep moods of devotion that we cannot understand on our own. So what should we do? We can't do anything except pray at the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. Give me that qualification. Else we cannot understand anything in this sense. So we stopped where? We stopped with this Gyan Mishra Bhakti. So here, this Gyan Mishra Bhakti is that Bhakti which especially speaks of becoming one with Brahma. But this is very bad. Like you see, even in the Ramayana, when Ramchandra was in the forest, then he met two rishis, Sarabhanga Rishi and Sutikshna. So then when he was going with Lakshmana, when he met this Sutikshna, this one rishi, then Sutikshna, he was very happy to see Ram. And he started serving Ram. And he left his body and he went to eternal Ramalok, the abode of. But Sarabhanga Rishi, he was a little inclined towards this Brahmavad, this impersonal effulgence. So what happened? When he looked at Ram, he said, I want to be one with your effulgence. And Ram blessed him, he said, all right. So they're like Nirvisheshwadis. But still you see, even though they become one with the effulgence of Bhagavan, still when they have the association of a pure devotee, like Narada, then what happens? They get pure bhakti. Because Narada Rishi is going all over the universe, he's going all over Vaikuntha. He's even going through this Brahma Jyoti. What is this Brahma Jyoti? Brahma Jyoti means the rays emanating from Krishna's body. And the jivas there who want to merge into his effulgence, they're like particles there. They're like chitkam. Means they're like spiritual atomic particles suspended within the rays. Like if you see sometimes, if you see rays of the sun passing through a window, then you can see many dust particles suspended in the air. You see many particles of dust within the rays of the sun. So similarly, from the effulgence of Krishna, all these jivatmas, they're there, suspended there. So when Narada Rishi is going there, what does he do? He starts doing kirtan. And when he starts doing kirtan, all these jivas, they're like sleeping. And then what happens? As and when they listen to the sadhu doing kirtan, their chit prakriti, that is their tendency to serve Krishna, gradually starts awakening, manifesting. And then they look towards Narada. And when Narada Rishi's grace, then again from that position, they come to this position of pure bhakti. So therefore, even this is not permanent, this is also temporary. So it is only by the awakening of Tik Shraddha, by the grace of a pure devotee, that one receives the qualification to enter Kevala Bhakti. And then one becomes qualified to abandon prescribed duties, Swadharma. So here, in the purport, Gurudev is saying that you can only renounce all your duties if you have thick faith, if you have pakka shraddha. Otherwise, if your faith is not pakka, strong, then even if you renounce everything, then you leave after some time. No. This is called Anishtita Bhakti. Anishtita Bhakti has many different stages. In that, one is called Vishaya Sanghar. Vishaya Sanghar means you are fighting with the objects of your senses. Like sometimes you see a very beautiful lady, you see a very beautiful girl, then you are attracted by her. Oh, this girl, she is very nice. If only she could be my wife. This is normal. This is normal for every living entity. Or like a lady sees a beautiful man, she thinks if he can be my husband. This is called Vishaya Sanghar. You see something on the streets, some nice thing, oh, okay, I want to eat that. You see something nice to drink, I want to drink that. This is the meaning of enjoying the objects of your senses. So every moment you're fighting with the objects of your senses. So how can you go past that? This is called Vishaya Sangha. And then there is called Niyamak Shama. Niyamak Shama means Niyam Aksham. Niyam means one day you promise that every day I'll chant 64 rounds. Every day I'll do this, I'll do that. And you're following all your vows, your niyams. 1 day, 2 day, 3 day. But on the 4th day you become hopeless. You cannot even chant like 10 rounds. And he's saying, I'll follow Nirjala Ekadashi, I'll do this, that, but the next day, you cannot do anything, you become hopeless. This is called Niyamak Shama. And then there is this Utsahamai. Utsahamai means what? Enthusiasm. Small boy, he is going to school. And when he's going to school, he doesn't know anything. So what does the teacher do? The teacher, she catches his hand and she makes him write. A for apple, B for ball, C for cat, D for dog. So then he's very enthusiastic. Oh, I want to go to school, I want to go to school. Every day I want to go to school. But the next day what happens when he goes to school? The teacher, she says, okay, now you know how to write. Now you write a sentence. Now you write a paragraph. And he says, how can I write? I don't know anything. I only want to learn ABCD. I don't want to learn anything else. And the teacher, she's laughing. She twists his ear. Like, what are you doing? You have to learn more. So this is like this in our devotional path also. First we come, we're very enthusiastic. Oh, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do this, I'll do that. But after some time, hopeless. This is called Utsahamai. And then there is Ghanatarala. Ghanatarala means, Ghan means very condensed and Taral means very diluted. So same like Utsahamai. We become very over enthusiastic. And then after some time, we become hopeless. And then there is Taranga Rangini. Taranga Rangini means the waves seen on the ocean. So sometimes when you are performing bhakti, so many people, they start offering you so much respect. They start giving you so much money. They start giving you so many things. And you cannot digest it. Especially with regard to money. No, just 2 days before, Prabhuji was saying that during Gurudev's time, Gurudev would not give any money to any brahmachari. Would not give any money to them. Nothing. So then the brahmacharis would be like, oh, Gurudev is not giving any money. Never. Because Gurudev knew that if I give them money, then where will their attachment be for? They gave their houses up, they gave their family, they gave everything up. But once they have money, then what will happen? Money is such that once you have it, then immediately you want to spend it. And you start spending it for so many bad things also. So Gurudev would also tell Prabhuji, don't give any of the brahmacharis money. If they need some medicine, if they need something, they can come to you, they can ask you, and you can give them some money for that medicine and all these things. No. So therefore, one must be very careful in regard to this, accepting money and all these things. Because if one accepts such money from everyone, then you see, when people are giving you money, they're actually giving you what? Sometimes they're giving you their sin. No. Like sometimes we see, like some people, they do many sinful things. Many sinful things. Like even killing people. And whatever money they have, what do? They give to the sadhus. Saying, oh, the sadhus, let them take all this money and let them suffer. See how cruel people are. And the sadhu, if he is not sincere, if he is thinking, okay, I'm getting some money, he'll take it and he'll suffer then. One must be very careful in that sense. Like I've spoken this story once before, that once there was a lady, one prostitute. So what do prostitutes do? They sell their bodies to other men. And people, they give them money. So then this lady, this prostitute, one day she said, I want to give up this profession. This is a very bogus profession. What am I doing with my life? So whatever money she got from all these men, she took all this money and she gave to the pujari of Govindadev temple. She said, here, take all this money and cook a nice feast for Govindadev and feed all the sadhus. This prostitute from the pujari. And the pujari became very angry. What did you just say? He said, Pujari was very noble, very righteous, cannot be bought. He said, what are you saying? You're giving all this money and you're telling me to cook a feast. For all the sadhus, this money is so sinful, he said. He said, go away from here. Just by looking at you, I will get so much sin. You leave. So then this prostitute, she went to the banks of the Yamuna, and there she started crying so much. She started crying. Oh, life is so cruel to me. Before people, they enjoyed me so much. Now I gave up this profession, but even now society has rejected me. Society has not accepted me. So she was weeping so much on the banks of the Yamuna. Because you see, repentance is very great. Repentance is like a fire which burns all your anarthas. If you are sincerely repenting for anything, then Bhagavan will forgive you. The devotees will forgive you. So this prostitute, she was repenting so much. She had so much pain in her heart. Saying, oh, what is this? No. So then Govindadev himself appeared in the dream of the Pujari. You see here, Govindadev himself. And he told the Pujari, what did you do? The Pujari said, what did I do? Why did you chase that lady away? Who came to give you that money? And he said, that lady is so sinful. That money she's got by such sinful means, how can I use that money in the service of the devotees? And Govindadev said, no, anyhow you accept that money from her and you cook a big feast. And you offer it to me. Govindadev said, you offer whatever you cook to me. So then the Pujari said, alright. And that lady again came to him the next day. He said, alright, give that money. So then she used that money to cook a big feast. And then the feast was given to all the babas, all the sadhus. Then when all the sadhus ate that food, then they started becoming very lusty. Sadhus there. What's happening here? No. Because when you start becoming lusty, you start feeling so much heat inside your body. Then something's wrong here. Then they call the Pujari, hey, what did you feed us? And he said, this lady, she gave all that money, I cooked a feast and I gave to you. And they said, why, how can you do this? So then the Pujari said, but Bhagavan himself appeared to me in a dream. And he told me to cook this feast for him. So then Govindadev again appeared in a dream to the Pujari and he said, I told you to cook the feast for me, not for everyone else. I can digest that lady's sins, but not everyone else. So then the Pujari said, what am I supposed to do? Then he said, you must give a little to all of them, just like a little for honoring. Not that you fill that stomach nicely up to the neck. No, you must be careful. So therefore, people are always like that. No. Some people like this lady, she was repentant. But still some people are so sinful, they have so much money, then they're thinking, how can I get rid of all these sins? So they see any brahmachari in saffron cloth? No. They say, hey, come here, Here, take as much money as you want. And that brahmachari is very greedy, and they'll give him like thousands of rupees. And he'll take the thousands of rupees and put in his pocket. And he's going here and there, spending all that money. And that sin is all coming to him. Slowly, that sin is coming. In like a needle, out like an elephant then. Slowly, all that sin is coming. And then gradually, so many things start happening to him in his life. So be very, very careful in this regard. Especially those who are brahmacharis, those who are sannyasis, all of them. Like we know that story. Once Gurudev, he went preaching with one of his Guru Maharaj's godbrothers, Narsingh Maharaj. When they went preaching, they collected like 300 rupees. At that time, 300 rupees was like 3 lakh rupees. So when they went with 300 rupees, they gave that 300 rupees to Param Gurudev. No, they gave 275 rupees or like 250 rupees. So then Gurudev, he had previously told Param Gurudev that we had collected 300 rupees. But then Narsingh Maharaj, he gave 250 rupees to Param Gurudev. So then when Param Gurudev saw this, he said, where is the other 50 rupees? And Narsingh Maharaj said, oh, you want the other 50 rupees also? You must realize I have some expenses. I have to buy clothes for myself, I have to buy medicine, this, that. How can you even ask for this money? So he was a little upset. Param Gurudev said, I'm not saying anything, you just give that money. And he took that money, Param Gurudev put it inside his pocket, and he gave it back here. So then Narsingh Maharaj said, what does that mean? He said, the people who are giving this money, there's so much poison within this money. This money is full of poison. So what am I doing? I'm taking that money and I'm taking all that poison myself, I'm freeing it of all that poison and I'm giving it back to you. He said. So be very, very careful in that sense. So here it is said that when an unqualified person renounces prescribed duties, there is fear of an inauspicious occurrence. So if one is very unqualified and he gives up everything, then this is very inauspicious. For this reason, Mahaprabhu is saying that this is external. If hearing and chanting are not coming from love within the heart, but rather from some mentally conceived sense of duty, then this is also external or superficial. Like sometimes you're chanting your rounds, you're not chanting with love. You're only chanting to finish your rounds. Like, when will it finish? When will it finish? Now you're looking at the clock. When will it finish? Now you're trying to finish by force. You're trying to move your beads, but even the beads are not moving. Each bead becomes like a big rock. You cannot even move the beads. How is this chanting then? Here, see what Mahaprabhu is saying. The chanting should be coming from love within your heart, he's saying. When you're chanting, you should chant with a sense of some love and affection, not mechanical chanting. No. So Srimad Mahaprabhu is looking for an explanation of something superior. Therefore, Raya Ramananda describes Gyan Mishra Bhakti as the state of perfection. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada explains that while in this universe, one who is advancing in his activities along the path of self-realization will be subject to material identification. But when that false conception of the self is dispelled, he crosses over the Viraja river. So there is a river separating the material and the spiritual world. That is called the Viraja river. So see, this is Vedic cosmology. Vedic cosmology is very astonishing. Right now you see so many scientists, they are preparing spaceships, they want to go to the moon, they want to go to Mars, they want to go to so many other planets in this universe. They are doing so many things. But here you see what is Vedic cosmology. Vedic cosmology means if you want to enter into another planet, you must have a body that is suitable for that planet. You cannot enter with this gross body in planets which are very subtle. It is impossible. You cannot enter by any mechanical means. You cannot just build a spaceship or a shuttle and go to another universe. No. To enter that particular universe, you must have certain qualification. Only then you can enter into that universe. Or else with a gross body, you cannot enter. Like you see in this world itself, the example is given. If you want to go to another country, you must have visa. You must go there, they'll interview you, and when they put that stamp, then you can go to that country. Without any qualification, how can you go? So similarly here also, without any qualification, how can you just go to other planets? Impossible, not possible. No. Like you see the moon itself, like according to the scientists, there is no life on the moon. Moon is just dry, made up of rocks. But if you look at the moon, if you look at all the plants and vegetables, they are nourished by the rays of the moon. The rays of the moon, when they fall on these plants and vegetables, they blossom. So how can the moon be lifeless? If the rays of the moon itself are giving life to other plants and vegetables, then how can you say the moon is just lifeless, there is no life seen on it? It's like common sense. The rays itself are giving, how can you say there is no life on the moon? Like even the sun, they say there is no water on the sun. But you see the sun is evaporating so much water. So much water the sun is evaporating. Where is all that water going? Some clouds are being found, that's okay, but still, where is the rest of the water being stored? In the sun itself. So all these things are inconceivable. So once they asked Swami Maharaj that how can you say that the scientists have never been to the moon, the astronauts have never been to the moon. And Swami Maharaj said, if I believe in what you are saying, then what I am believing will be false. Whatever I stand for is false. Because in the Gita and all the scriptures it is said that the moon also has a predominating deity. Who is that? He is Chandrama, the moon god. Every planet has a predominating deity. So here also, you see here, Prabhupada is saying that once one crosses the material world, then he goes past the Viraja Nadi, which is like a huge river. And then once he crosses past that river, then he enters into the spiritual world. So when he crosses over the Viraja river, which is beyond the influence of the three modes of material nature, and then he reaches the unmanifest state of the three modes. Means there, the three modes of material nature, they dissolve within this river. The material universe manifests from the external energy, whereas the Vaikuntha Dham is manifest from the internal potency. In between the two are Brahmalok and the Viraja river. This river is the place of shelter for those jivas who are detached from this material world and who deny the material varieties within the material creation. Those who have acquired this unmanifest state may not enter Vaikuntha but must remain outside. Therefore it is external. So you see, there are certain yogis who give up everything in this material world. They don't want to enjoy. They have no sexual desire, they have no desire to eat, they have no desire to drink, they have nothing. So God is their destination, this is their destination. They go and they enter in this unmanifest state, which is near the Virija river, where the three modes of material nature are dormant, they are inactive, they are sleeping. So they go there. So just as the realization of the sadhaks who abandoned their prescribed duties within this world does not equate to realization of Vaikuntha, similarly those who make their goal detachment from material enjoyment only receive realization of a non-conscious, impersonal reality. So see here, they have only given up everything. But what is the positive side? They have given up the negative side, but they have not accepted anything of the positive side. Like if a person is very sick, then what will he do? He will take some medicine and he will be free of that sickness. But once he is free of that sickness, when he is healthy, what will he do? That is where life begins from him. Now, if one is only saying, I'm diseased, he's taking medicine, and once he becomes healthy, he won't do anything, then what is the point of him becoming free from that disease? Once he is healthy, then he will start going towards the right direction. So similarly here, these yogis are like those diseased people. They have given up that disease, but now they don't want to go in the proper direction. For this reason, this is external. Therefore, Mahaprabhu is saying this Gyan Mishra Bhakti is external. In fact, only Prema Bhakti qualifies as pure Bhakti. Unless one reaches the stage of this Prema Bhakti, unless one reaches the stage of Samya or Abhyakta, means the neutral state of the three modes, it is actually impossible to attain Prema Bhakti. In Gyan Mishra Bhakti, Gyan remains prominent, and thus it is not Bhakti at all. Rather, it is only an offense at the lotus feet of Bhagavan. It becomes possible to obtain Bhakti when one becomes free from the three modes of material nature, or if one somehow gets the association of a pure Guru and Vaishnavas. If a piece of gold, the size and shape of a mustard seed, is mixed into a huge heap of golden mustard seeds, it is very difficult to distinguish it. But once the whole thing is set on fire, then the piece of gold can be distinguished. So here the example is given that there is a huge pile of mustard seeds, which is also yellow in color, golden. There, if you keep a piece of gold within that pile, then how can you distinguish between that piece of gold and the mustard seeds? Impossible. But if you set fire to it, no, then all the mustard seeds will burn to ashes and that piece of gold will be there. Then you can take it out from the ashes. So similarly here, the saintly association of the sadhu, the pure devotee, is like that piece of gold. And that gyan is like those mustard seeds. So then, by this fire of Shravan Kirtan, what happens? All that gyan, which is like mustard seeds, is burned to ashes. And that piece of gold, which is what? Which is pure bhakti, the seed of bhakti, that is manifest. So where Gyan Mishra Bhakti ends, Shuddha Bhakti begins. Gyanis desire to obtain oneness with the effulgence of Krishna. Yet they cannot attain their goal by the process of Gyan alone. They obtain it only by mixing this Gyan with Bhakti. So the practice of this Gyan Mishra Bhakti is never capable of awakening Prem. Therefore, this type of Gyan is an obstruction to Shuddha Bhakti. So thus the yogi who is connected by my Bhakti and absorbed in thinking of me, he does not cultivate Gyan separately. His auspiciousness is achieved only through devotion to me. So Bhakti is perfect in itself. There is no need for us to go through karma or Gyan. This is basically what Mahaprabhu is saying. Now, like some devotees are thinking, if I do these things, then I become qualified to do Bhakti. If I have such kind of knowledge, I become qualified to do Bhakti. But this is external. You see, Haridas talked, Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, he did not know how to read or write. He was illiterate. So does that mean Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj did not receive pure devotion because he was illiterate? He was the greatest of devotees. Gaurishada's Babaji Maharaj. In fact, he was the guru of Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, the most learned personality of his time. There was no person more learned than Prabhupada. And Gaurishada's Babaji Maharaj was his Gurudev. So does that mean that just because he was illiterate, he was not qualified to attain pure bhakti? No. No such thing. And is it said that if one person should be very qualified, he should be born in a very good family, he should be having all good qualities, then he'll achieve pure bhakti? Nothing. In whatever stage you are, just try to attain bhakti in that stage. This is what is needed here. Like there are so many examples. Like some people, they went to learn Sanskrit and they became so proud once they learned Sanskrit. Because when you learn Sanskrit, then you can start uttering certain mantras, shlokas very nicely. And when you start speaking in Sanskrit, people become very attracted to you. Then you become very proud. And then what happens? Gradually they start becoming proud. And then they think they're even more than their guru, they're even more than other devotees. And then they give up everything then. So even that kind of knowledge sometimes is very dangerous. So, then the shloka is given that a person Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Sochati Na Kankshati Samas Bhuteshu Bhaktim Labate Param. That a person absorbed in Brahma neither laments nor desires anything. And then in that stage he obtains Parabhakti. So there are many mantras in the Vedas establishing the difference between the Jiva and Brahma. Now because the Mayavadis, they're always uttering certain mantras like Tattvamasi, I am him, Aham Brahmasmi, I am that Brahma. And then they're saying so many things. But here there are many mantras in the Vedas which actually differentiate between the Jiva and Bhagavan. Like you see, there's a tree. On the tree there are two birds. One bird is the Jivatma and the other bird is Paramatma. So one bird is tasting the fruits of that tree while the other bird is bearing witness to that bird. But it is not tasting the fruits of that tree. And who is that bird? That is Paramatma. And who is the bird tasting the fruits of that tree? That is the Jivatma. So here what are those mantras? Pradhana Kshetrakya Patir Gunesha. That Paramatma is the controller of the three modes of material nature and the master of all living entities. Tam Ahur Agrayam Purusham Mahantam. All the sages declare him to be the foremost and greatest of persons. Yathat Tyato Ratan Yadat. It is he who awards the many jivas necessities. Tenedam Purnam Purushena Sarvam. By that person's arrangement, this entire universe is complete. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. He is the supreme conscient being among all living entities. So therefore the jiva can never become one with Brahma. Persons who attain this Brahma Bhuta platform are in two categories. Devotees, they don't have a chance. So when it says here, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, Na Sochati Na Kankshati, Sarva Sarve Subhuteshu, Mad Bhaktim Lavate Param. This refers to those Brahmavadis who have some respect for Bhagavan and his devotees. But still, their liking, their ruchi is more for his impersonal form. So this is that. But still Mahaprabhu rejects this also as external. And then this Gyan Shunya Bhakti will, this is Gyan Mishra. And then Raya Ramananda is going to speak on Gyan Shunya Bhakti. That will listen some other time. So therefore, falling at the feet of Mahaprabhu and Raya Ramananda, we can only hope that this knowledge enters our hearts. Because once this knowledge starts entering our heart, then we'll start having realization of all this knowledge. Now we are only speaking about it. Now these are only words, we are not having realization. But there will be a day when we'll have realization also. And then we will be doing ideal Vani Seva. And that such Vani Seva will also lead to Vapu Seva. What is the meaning of Vapu Seva in the ultimate sense? Means you're serving Radha and Krishna in the Kunjas under the guidance of your Guru Rupa Sakhi. This is the meaning of Vapu Seva. In the spiritual world, Sri Guru has the form as a maid servant of Srimati Radhika. He has the form there as a Manjari. So when you're more perfect, more perfect. What happens? There in the Kunjas, you are serving Radha and Krishna under the guidance of this Guru Rupa Sakhi, which is your own spiritual master. This is the highest ideal of Vapu Seva, highest form of Vapu Seva. So this Vani Seva can lead to that Vapu Seva. This way they complement each other. So let's stop. Shri Ramananda samvad ki jai. Shri Gurudev Param Gurudev Prabhupada Rupankari Gurupalva ki jai. Ant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Samay Shri Gaurav ki jai. Dai Gaurav Manandere Ancha Kalpatru Vishya Kripa Sindhu Peja Titananda Vaishnavibhyo